precocious jump of 1.6%, but that reflected the spike in gasoline prices. Cisco Systems shares rose 14% at the open. Its earnings were upbeat. Cisco reported dramatic demand for its artificial intelligence-related products, but it also plans to cut about 4,000 jobs. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Well, big surge in the Dow, up over 400 points now to retake the 50,000 level as Cisco shares jump. Right now, the Dow is at 50,096, up 402 points. S&P ahead 62. NASDAQ is up 262.
From Wall Street to Church Street, that's the latest business news from the Edward Jones Financial Desk. I'm financial advisor and CFP Lee Colvin. Call 615-907-7056 or stop by our office on South Rutherford Boulevard in the Public Shopping Center.
Well, let's check on the country's weather before we bring it right back here at home.
Fox Weather.
Hi there, I'm Fox Weather meteorologist Craig Herrera with the latest from America's Weather Center. A gloomy end to the week for the Northeast. Scattered showers for the morning hours. Low 60s from Boston to New York, all the way over to Philly as well as D.C. Scattered showers for Orlando, down into Miami, still up into the 90s. Severe storms today. In fact, each day for the next 5 days, we've got an outlook. Today's will focus on portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, especially for the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas into eastern New Mexico. Storms picking up this afternoon could produce some very strong gusty winds as well as hailstones 2 inches in diameter, and the best chance for those hailstones to pick up would be over the state of Kansas, especially this afternoon and evening. By the evening hours, some of this rolls to the east just a bit more, extending all the way into Missouri, but again, we have got a severe outlook right through the weekend, so stay with us for the latest updates and get the latest weather updates by downloading the Fox Weather app at foxweather.com.
Now, here's your Rutherford weather forecast.
Well, you know, we've got a little cool out there right now, 63 degrees in Murfreesboro and in Smyrna. But it's going to be short-lived. So if you need to do like the mowing and that kind of thing and you want a cooler day, well, you better pick today. It's going to be very nice, but pardon me, a little north wind coming in. It's going to usher in some changes. Got a big heat dome that's going to build.
Well, Brian, it looks like we'll see some sunshine ahead for us here for this afternoon with a high into the mid-70s. North winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tonight, mostly clear with a low near 45. By Friday, sunshine, a high of 81 degrees. And Saturday, partial sunshine develops a high around 88. Sunday, we'll see sunny skies, high of 92 degrees. And on Monday, plenty of blue skies and sun, high of 93. Tuesday, chance for rain and storms, high of 93. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki.
Thanks, Jennifer. And taking a look at our Rutherford weather radar, nothing showing out there. I've actually got the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook pulled up here, and it's going to be above normal temperature-wise. Next 8 to 14 days, it's going to be above normal temperature-wise. Rinse and repeat. We're going to be low 80s tomorrow, upper 80s Saturday, low 90s Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And, you know, Spring Flings is next week, baseball, softball, several other sports here in Rutherford County. And, of course, we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, have some baseball, softball. Well, Tuesday into Wednesday, we've got a chance of showers and storms. Wednesday, looking like storms likely. We're going to be very hot going into that and probably very steamy. And, you know, even after we get this system, it looks like we're going to still remain warm. So it's not going to be like a cold shot coming through. That's usually the sign that summer is here to stay. Will we have another cool spell? Maybe, probably, but not in the near term. That's what we've got for you on your Rutherford weather forecast. Don't forget to check us out on the Rutherford Weather Channel. We're live during impactful and severe weather. Thankfully, we haven't had a ton of that this spring, but summertime always brings those storm systems too, so we'll be on the lookout for that. June could be stormy June. You just never know. So you'll want to go and like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't been. Find us at Ruco Weather, RUCO Weather. or just go to rutherfordwx.com, and there are links to all of the social platforms. Would be live on YouTube, Facebook, and X during impactful and severe weather. We also have kind of a widget, a box there for when we are live on the channel. It'll go live on the website too. You'll find lots of cool tools, a newly revamped website with your local forecast for the Murfreesboro and Smyrna areas. Some of the live cams that we use, outage map from Middle Tennessee Electric, road closures from Rutherford County EMA, chance to look at radar and other things of that nature. So be your own junior meteorologist, I guess, if you will. But you can check it out, rutherfordwx.com. All right, 63 degrees, Murfreesboro and Smyrna. That's a look at your local forecast.
Catch the Action Line every weekday morning at 8, followed by the Roundtable at 9. Information you trust from leaders you know, here on News Radio WGNS. Rutherford Issues on News Radio WGNS.
Rutherford Issues is brought to you by on Big GTV. Our friends over at Murfreesboro Medical Clinic and Surgery Center, MMC, here in our community. They have been a proud partner of Middle Tennessee athletics, keeping students and athletes mentally and physically healthy. MMC committed to the health of our entire community. Check of the latest world news is coming up from Fox News Radio here after a short timeout.
Ascension St. Thomas Heart is the leader in Middle Tennessee for heart care, providing the most advanced options, including heart surgery and transplants. Our nationally recognized cardiac team cares for more adult hearts than anyone in the state, from AFib to heart failure, using minimally invasive options when possible to help shorten recovery, making Ascension St. Thomas Heart your first choice for routine heart care and cardiac emergencies. Schedule a heart screening or find a cardiologist at ascension.org/St. Thomas Heart.
Are you looking to buy or sell real estate? I'm Betsy Maples with Maples Realty and Auction, and we've been selling property in Middle Tennessee since 1969, whether it be traditional listings, sales, or auctions. Let us visit your property and help you decide what method is best for your situation. Call Maples Realty and Auction today, because it's our people that's the difference.
Maples Realty and Auction.
Sold Maples Realty and Auction. Don't miss the Rick Burgess Show, weekdays 11 to 2 here on News Radio WGNS.
The Rick Burgess Show, weekdays 11 to 2 on News Radio WGNS.
He says it was a fantastic day with extremely productive talks. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and that day is just about over for President Trump. It's 11 p.m. now in China, where he said in his toast at a state dinner,
"This region and the world is a special world with the two of us united and together."
And he invited China's leader to the White House for talks in September. Xi Jinping toasted to prosperity, saying they must not mess up their relationship.
Achieving the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and making America great again can go hand in hand.
Trade was a big issue in the talks today, and Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from Beijing.
Behind closed doors, they obviously tackled some thornier issues. Readout indicates that President Trump did not budge on the Taiwan issue, and China really had some thoughts about that. We knew that Xi was going to probably dangle that issue to try to extract something from the U.S. in exchange for cooperation on Iran.
And we're just getting this audio from President Trump in an interview he did after the Xi talks with Fox's Sean Hannity.
He did offer, he said, if I can be of any help at all, I would like to be of help. Because,
he did say that.
Yeah, he did say that. And look, anybody that buys that much oil has obviously got some kind of a relationship with him.
Iran seized another cargo ship, still holding up traffic in the Strait of Hormuz as a U.S. blockade around Iran's ports prevents them from exporting oil to China. And at a Senate hearing a short time ago, the leader of U.S. Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, testified the U.S. bombing before the ceasefire seriously degraded Iran's military and missile production.
With 90% of its defense industrial base destroyed, Iran won't be able to reconstitute those weapons for years.
Democratic Senator Jack Reed tells Cooper,
I am concerned the president does not have a credible strategy to win. Every member of this committee shares the goal of preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon, but there is no purely military solution to this problem.
America's listening to Fox News.
At the Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street, we believe in more than just great deals. Every purchase you make helps Greenhouse Ministry serve over 70 families a day, offering hope and changing lives in our community. From name brand clothing to household items or even large appliances, you'll find everything you need at prices that will fit your budget. Plus, 100% of the proceeds go back to the ministry. Visit the Garden Patch Thrift Shop today across from the tall NHC building in downtown Murfreesboro, where shopping changes lives.
Right before President Trump left for China, he posted on Truth Social that Cuba is a failed country and is asking for help, adding, "We will talk," as anger grows there over worsening fuel shortages.
Swarms of people on the streets of Havana, upset and frustrated over living conditions, including the city's worst rolling blackouts in decades, spurred by the U.S. blockade that has choked the communist island's fuel supply. Crowds blocking roads and burning piles of rubbish. One Havana resident said his neighborhood in Playa went for more than 40 hours without electricity. A woman in Mariano said she slept on her doorstep for days, forced out of her home by the heat. This is considered one of the largest single-night demonstrations in Havana since the energy crisis took hold. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Fuel here costs a lot more than $1.50 a gallon since the Iran conflict started, and that has slowed down American shopping. Sales gained last month, but not as much as March.
Retail sales rose 0.5%, up 0.7% excluding auto sales, and up 4.9% for the year. Spending jumped the month before in March, up 1.6% as Americans paid more for gasoline.
Fox's Ginny Casola. The morning after South Carolina's Supreme Court threw out Alex Murdaugh's conviction and life sentence in the killings of his wife and son in 2021, citing a court clerk's misconduct talking to the jury. Murdaugh's lawyer, Jim Griffin, tells Fox,
"I can tell you he is very relieved that he has gotten the label of convicted murderer of his wife and son off of him, and we plan to keep it off of him."
But South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson also tells Fox they plan to retry him, and
I want people to understand that our office secured convictions on financial crimes that will keep Alex Murdaugh in prison for several more decades, so he's not going anywhere.
On Wall Street, the Dow's up almost 400 points, the Nasdaq's gaining 200. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox.
I've got pests, buzzing rodents running all through my house, ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I'm overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
Mills Family Pharmacy.
Here at Mills Pharmacy, we do compound medications.
Craig Buckner with Mills Family Pharmacy.
Compounding medications are prescriptions that are not commercially available, or you need a special formulation. If it's a liquid, suppository, or specialized cream, we make that in our lab.
Mills Family Pharmacy offers a wide range of compounding, all to create custom medications for you.
We're at 2994 South Church Street, next to Toots.
Customized services at Mills Family Pharmacy.
This is News Radio WGNS Prime Time Sports.
Sponsored by the law offices of John Day. Our expanded office location is on Medical Center Parkway, just across the street from the hospital. If you've been injured, call us for a free consultation at 867-9900.
Well, last night caught the exciting finish of Braves. They rallied to beat the Cubs. And now improved to a Major League best 30-13. We'll have the Braves tonight after Middle Tennessee baseball. This evening, it's the first of 3 games versus Liberty. And what's on the line here for the Blue Raiders? They need to win a game, at least one game in this series with Liberty, to ensure themselves a spot in next week's Conference USA tournament, that or an FIU loss. So fingers crossed. Coverage 5:45 this evening, 2:45 tomorrow, and Saturday 12:45. Yes, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday being the last series before the conference tournament next week. Last night, John Dinkins and I had the chance to go to Siegel, where The Stars in sectional action were bested by Nolensville by a final of 5-2. Only the 5th loss on the whole season for Siegel. They'll have to rebound, and that's not tonight because Siegel graduation is tonight. Friday, and they have to force, with a win on Friday, a 3rd and final game in the series on Saturday. So fingers crossed for the Siegel Stars. If they win, if they get 2 wins, they've got to get 2 wins, they will be in the Spring Fling next week in the state's Final 8. Riverdale trying to do the same tonight after falling at Ravenwood 12-8. And Eagleville's baseball season will continue. They lost Game 1 4-1 at McKenzie, but came back to win 15-5 in Game 2, a 3rd and deciding game at 5 o'clock this evening down in McKenzie for Eagleville baseball. Last night it was Riverdale handing Stewart's Creek only their 2nd loss in softball all year long. Riverdale 2, Stewart's Creek 1. Stewart's Creek will go on the road in the sectional play coming up on Friday. Riverdale will be at home. And Eagleville's at home, too, after their 13-1 win over Mount Pleasant. Girls flag football continues, and good luck to the Blackman Lady Blaze, who are going to try to win a state title in flag football. Also in soccer last night, it was 6-0 Siegel over Rockvale. Siegel will play at home in sectional action Friday while Rockvale travels on the road. I think they're going to Cleveland. And that's a look at the latest local sports. It's a busy time. Spring Fling is next week. Spring Fling HQ returns Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week as part of our Spring Fling coverage, and hopefully lots of baseball and softball to boot. We're going to check in with our Rutherford County Administrator of Elections and some other guy who came in off the street when we come back.
NASCAR Powerball. The chase to $1 million is on.
Finalists, are you ready?
Don't miss your chance to collect cash prizes on your way to an all-new destination where you could take home $1 million.
Insane! The winner is contestant number 2.
I can't believe it. The official lottery game of NASCAR is back for the chase.
Enter at TNVIPrewards.com between May 1st and August 1st for your chance to win.
2 powerful FM signals, 1 AM signal, and online at WGNSradio.com means that you can listen to us anywhere. AM, FM, online.
When it comes to your child's health, you want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
Here for every growth spurt, for every boo-boo, every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you.
Every step of the way.
(1981). This is Ben Ingram, and the Atlanta Braves play here. News Radio WGNS.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is presented by Middle Tennessee Electric. You know you can manage your account anytime at MTE.com or through the MyMTE app. Providing reliable service and peace of mind, that's Middle Tennessee Electric, putting it all on the line since 1936. State Representative Mike Sparks is here, and at least you brought a good guest this time.
Yeah, I did. Alan Farley, our Director of Elections. Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. How you doing?
Doing good.
I mean, most of the time your guests are, it's last minute. I'm sure you called Alan a week ago, though, right?
I text you. It was a couple days ago.
It's Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a lot of pre-planning going on.
Have you turned over a new leaf or something?
No, it's called being fluid, just being spontaneous.
Is that what it is?
Making it happen, you know.
I think Monday he realized I don't have anybody on the show for Thursday. Hey, you want to do this? No,
well,
I'm just kidding.
We were talking about the new congressional district and all the hoopla we had at the state capitol last week. And I thought, you know what? I think listeners would love to hear what's kind of going on. And there's nobody better in Rutherford County to know this subject matter than Mr. Alan Farley.
Well, let me ask you this, though, before we jump into that. Have you been shopping at Baby Gap again? That shirt, you need a shirt that fits better or something.
I got this from my Hindu friends.
Well,
I love this
Our
color.
size is different?
No.
It looks a little small. I mean,
it is.
You're trying to be
that's got to be a compliment. So you can tell I've been working out a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
It looks like he's been in the gym more so than he's been at the legislature.
Is that what it is?
Been trying, man. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, Nashville gets stressful. So I thought, man, I got to find me an outlet for mental health. So I just started working. I mean, that's what got me working back out. Man, I got to get some of this mental health under control and working
They're going to have you help the sergeant at arms if you're not careful.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. I almost got beat up there last week.
Is that why you've been working out?
Well, I thought I was going to get beat up last year, so I started working. You know, I had a run-in with my own party and some people, and you know, I just I get upset with General Assembly. I mean, I get upset with government. I get upset with how things are, but I think that's healthy when we want to make change and we want to see things improve. We want affordable housing. We want low regulation, low taxes, and helping folks dealing with addiction, helping with overcrowded jail, turning men's and women's lives around. So I think it's healthy to be upset with government. That's how I view things. And I know you get upset because you know, I hope it's okay to share. You text me, and it was almost a little prophetic if what you text me last week before we got into all this stuff.
About the redistricting and
maybe we don't want to talk about
the word gerrymandering.
No, it's not gerrymandering.
I knew you'd have the company line ready to go.
It's Johnny Mandering.
Johnny.
Anyways.
At least you didn't don a Trump flag as a cape or anything like that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what. It was a rough day of the day, man. I mean, if it wasn't for state troopers, I just walked out through all the protesters, and I've done it before, you know, and I love the First Amendment. I love people stating their opinion. I don't like being cussed at, and I didn't get spit on, but I heard some people got spit on. I don't like people getting pushed and assaulted, but it was a rough day. Luckily, thankfully, them troopers, I don't know, there was about 8 of them that just ran up with me, and I'm going to tell you, man, it was a rough day, brother.
Well, it looks like the speaker is going to remove all committee and subcommittee assignments as much as possible, it seems.
That's his decision, you know. I mean,
if you were the speaker, would you have done that?
I don't know, man. You know, I like healing. I like people working together, and I try to be a peacemaker. And as a follower of Christ, and I may not be the best follower of Christ because I tend to lose my temper, tend to use some words I don't like to use, and
you need to work out more.
I know. I need to work on my language a little more. But you know, that's his call. I'm not going to criticize him. That's his decision. I do think we need some healing in government, though. We need some healing. After elections, we need healing. I mean, Al and I were talking about some of this, and we need some peacemakers. This country, I think, needs a revival. And even if you're not a Christ follower, I think atheists would agree that the example that Christ set before us is a great example for a healthy republic. So I'm all about debating and discussions. I'm not about people being cussed at and people bringing nooses and calling you racist and KKK and that sort of thing. So, but that's kind of where we're at today, Brian.
Definitely an interesting time. Alan, you get one election out of the way, and then you got 2 more this year. I mean, the work really never stops during an election year, does it?
It stays. I mean, real busy. The even number of years is when we have elections in Tennessee, and the odd years we do not. So you know, you really. And I tell people when people kind of come on our staff, I said you got to be used to going from 0 to 100 miles an hour, and then you hit that wall on election day, and then you back down to 0, and then you get a couple days rest, then you're back at 100 miles an hour, and then you hit that wall again. Mm-hmm. So you just you start and go, but it's just one and really one speed. That's all out.
Yeah. Well, after this past election on May 5th. Then the next week, it's like, oh, well, we're going to change, congressional districts, and it's going to be for August, and, all this. And, I mean, you have to follow whatever is passed down. So that's a law, right?
Right. And I mean, of course, some people, they want to complain to us, and I say, well, your grievances with the General Assembly, not us. We just carry out the rules and the laws that they pass. And so some people say, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. Well, in 1972, majority of our election laws were passed back in the early 70s and late 70s and 80s. Of course, there have been some amendments, changes throughout the years, but overwhelmingly, and those laws have elected supermajorities of both political parties in this state, which is, I think, is a unique perspective. But on election day, it was kind of slow with our dismal turnout. But so I'm sitting here watching the special session and kind of following what's going on there because we knew it was going to impact what we do. I kind of had a feel that Rutherford County was probably going to be split up for the first time. So we're kind of getting things in order to go into that, because I knew it would be at warp speed. And then within a couple of days, we get the information from the comptroller's office, and we're already in the process. So we should have our part wrapped up probably by the end of next week.
Oh, okay, good. And your finger's on the pulse more than me, but what I text to Mike was, where does Rutherford County go in all of this? And for me, it's, do we have more in common with Marion County? Do we have more in common with Bolivar, Tennessee? Tennessee split up into 3 grand divisions, and it's even on our flag. You've got 3 stars for the 3 grand divisions. But I understand there has to be some overlap and whatnot. But if you predicted a split, and when we say split, if you live on Concord Road, I think that's pretty much somewhere around in there. It's a very small sliver of Rutherford County, isn't it, overall?
Well, it's 39,081 people.
Is it really? That's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, and when I got it and saw it, I was like, oh, okay, it was not as bad as what I thought. Now, of course, I've gone through redistricting myself, and from the countywide 92, 2002, 2012, and the 2022 redistricting, I did those.
Yeah,
was kind of involved, either on the election commission or as a commissioner, as administrator. I've been a part of the congressional redistricting process. And which the interesting thing is, back in 2000, at that point in time, before I was administrator, many years before I was administrator, I actually was involved with the congressional redistricting. And some of the things that have kind of come up, of course, Congressman Bryant out of West Tennessee I ran some of his congressional campaigns, but the thing was, his district went from East Shelby to Murray County, and it right up to Williamson County, all the way to Montgomery and Fort Campbell.
Oh yeah.
And so. Which the funny thing was, and then there's some people maybe listening that I won't mention their name or names, but we're part of that process as well. But they were on the other side, and they spoke and said, "Okay, here's East Tennessee. Here's those counties. Y'all can do whatever you want to with them, and we're gonna divide these others."
Can I say those names? Kent Seiler was Kent involved, and I love you, Kent. If you listen, I just spoke to his class here a couple months ago. No, Kent told me he was involved in some of that years ago. But let's
that's
face
when
it.
the Democrats had the majority.
Yeah, they had control,
Yeah.
but they carved. There was 3 congressional seats in Shelby County back then.
Right, but
that's the argument. They don't want 3 voices. My argument is we're going to get an extra voice for Rutherford County. We're going to get a little bit more clout in D.C. Am I wrong with that?
Exactly,
reason?
but here's what people don't understand. Of course, when you do the state house, state senate, you have a standard deviation of 10%, 5% on each way to balance. With the congressional reapportionment, you have to have 762,054 people in each district.
Wow.
Okay.
So the reason that I say, well, why do they go carve, this? Why do you have this point here? Because it's all done by a census block.
They needed that 39,000 in that district from Rutherford County to make the number.
Right. And it's like, okay, why didn't they just round it up to 40,000, or why did they take it to, why 39,081 was because it was to get that balance between all 9 districts. So that's really, but the census blocks, which is done by the Census Bureau, the census blocks are shaped by different avenues of what consists of a census block. It could be a railroad track, it could be a water, it could be mountain, or whatever. So those census blocks are determined by the Census Bureau. So at that point, that's the reason why you get some of the funny shapes. But it's the population. There's one part in there that has off of Amelville Road that has a very small little spot, and it's green. It's not red, but with on the map that we got, the 9th district was red. But when I looked at it, I said, okay, that's a church. That's a zero population census block. So there's no population there, so they just didn't go in and encompass that area. So there's some details and facts to the process that a lot of people, the average person, don't understand. So that's the reason why it has a funny shape and it's not squared off nice and proper.
So each district is equally represented, is what you're saying?
I think there's one district that has one resident more than the other 8.
Yeah, it looks like it goes all the way from Shelby County, and it ends at Cooks Avenue up here on Murfreesboro Road, which is right before Forest Lane, which would be is that Key Estates?
Yes.
I guess Key Estates. So it literally ends, it looks like, in that subdivision to the left of Forest Lane, and ends at Bel Air, right down from my house at Murfreesboro Road, right there at Quicksack. But it takes in all the west side of Lowry. It doesn't go beyond Murfreesboro Road.
Well, here's my kind of thing, and my pushback with you a little bit on this district. And yes, Rutherford County can definitely have some representation. Yeah. But the chance of someone from Rutherford County running and winning District 9 is a whole lot smaller than it is in District 4, because you only have 39,000 that could run from,
the way they got this set up, and Alan can speak more sharply on this than I can, but my understanding, because I was in those meetings, and when the speaker said it goes from Memphis to Smyrna, my ears perked up, because I thought, I got to go explain this to people, because people are going to ask me, they're going to be upset. And I thought about you, because you had texted me earlier on some of these questions, and Johnny Garrett had been running for Congress for 6 months, a year, and he got carved out of his own base, but he can still run. Under this, you could, I could run, or somebody could run for Rutherford County and go run up in those other districts, right?
Correct.
So Justin Pearson, even though he doesn't on the Democrat side, he I don't know if he resides in this district or not, or Cohen can run. Vincent Dixie, who ran for Congress last time, he can run.
So say that again. Who can run?
Well, I mean, basically, you can run. My understanding is that, I mean, we had a Rutherford County resident who ran in the 6th congressional district several years ago, which he was not a resident of that district. But in Tennessee, you have to be for Congress, you have to be a resident of the state in which you represent, not the district.
So someone from Knoxville could represent the District 9 that runs from Memphis to parts of Smyrna.
Right. I mean, and I mean, of course, in the state house or state senate, they do have the John Ford rule, where basically, John Ford used to stand up on the Senate floor and say Curtis Person was his state senator, which he was a state senator, should be representing his own entity, But because they said John never lived in the district, but anyway, but the biggest thing I thought was when they drew the district for the 9th, I thought that might be a district that they had drawn for Charlie Hatcher, who was a former ag commissioner.
That makes sense.
Ag commissioner who was running in the 5th. But because you've got that part of Williamson County, part of Murray, right, and then you got all the border counties of that are very rural agricultural communities that lead back in towards Shelby County, which I thought that, but he's actually staying in the 5th, even though he's a resident in the 9th.
Yeah.
Running in the 5th district. So
I wouldn't think the average voter would have known that, though. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you. I thought you had to live within the district just like any other. I mean, Mike, you can't run to represent another state house district.
Right. We had a guy getting a lot of trouble for that years ago, county commissioner, if you remember. I won't say his name, but it was severe consequences for that guy. That was 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
But the district, it's one of those, because of the population, and a lot of people don't realize that, the average, you take away the top 5-6 counties, the average size of a county in Tennessee is about 40,000 people.
Yeah.
So you take away, out of 95 counties, you take away the top 9 counties. So you've got 85 counties that are anywhere from 6,000 in population to 60,000.
Something that Mayor Shane McFarland said, I brought it up here several times because it's astonishing to think, but he said that if Blackman were its own city or town, that was incorporated, like Murfreesboro, like the town of Smyrna, that it would be a top 10 city just because of size in the state of Tennessee and population. So that's what we're dealing with here in Rutherford County.
Yeah, because what I call West Murfreesboro, of course, being a native here, family's been here for generations, it's one of those things of that West Murfreesboro, the Blackman area, is larger than what I call Murfreesboro proper. And there's a lot of people that don't even come to the downtown area.
Well, they don't have to anymore.
Right, they don't have to because they work and play in Nashville, but they can't afford to live in Metro Davidson County, so they live here. But all they do is they get up in the morning, they drive in, and this is God's honest truth. I always know when the Metro mayor's race is, because we count it because it's an odd year. It's in an odd year, but we actually count them, the phone calls. We have over 100 calls every time of people in Rutherford County mad and upset because we're not open. Because in the Laverne area and just a little sliver of Smyrna, because they do everything in Nashville but sleep there. And live there, and they
choose the mayor, right?
And they want to be involved with the mayor's race.
Yeah,
and so they'll call and they say, "Well, I went down to Laverne Middle School, or I went to Cedar Grove, and how come y'all not there? Why don't you open? I need to vote, kind of thing." And I said, "Well, there's an imaginary line right as you cross the bridge there, right before you get to Walden Road. It says Rutherford County line." So,
well, hats off to what you guys do at the Rutherford County Election Commission. I know that you were. A few years ago, you were kind of up front about, pushing the vote centers and being able to vote, and we were a pilot project, and that worked so well. And but gosh, we've got to do better than 11, 12, 13% voter turnout.
What
else can we do to make it any easier?
But I think the biggest problem, and this is what's hard for people to understand, is that we're such a growing community here. Back when I was a kid growing up, I was actually sharing with somebody the other day. I said, Crumbleox used to be right here. We used to come sit out here on the back of Jackson Heights Shopping Center, and we would watch the fireworks display. This is where everybody come and gathered as a community. But that's back when Murfreesboro was small. But the fact is, we have so many people moving in, just like I was referencing a while ago in Blackman, is that there's no sense of community. There's no daily newspaper where there's reporting of what's going on in local government. WGNS is the only local source of information. And the fact is that there's not a way for them to get the news source. There's nobody reporting on I think like in Rutherford County, there is a meeting just about every night for 2 weeks that goes on with certain aspects of Rutherford County government, whether it be property management, whether it be budget, whether it be public safety. And then, of course, you have the Murfreesboro Planning Commissions, you have Smyrna, Laverne Planning Commission, all of that. But the fact is, they get their news, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, and those national news outlets. So everything is nationalized.
Right.
And so they don't know who the local players are. They don't know what the local issues are. So they're just not vested.
And maybe, I had a little conversation, it wasn't on the air, with my son about that. And he said, well, to go along with what you said, a lot of people didn't even know there was an election. And I said, how can they not? I mean, there are signs everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't blink and not see a Kenneth Barrett for sheriff sign. So how did you not know? And it's, not paying attention, don't have that news and
right.
And that kind of thing. But when I said what was the percentage of voter turnout?
11.17%.
And that's of registered voters, which was around 201,000?
217,224.
Okay. Well,
I was going to say,
do that.
One thing I appreciate about Alan and his staff is y'all led on the pilot project. I had that bill. You remember? Mm-hmm. And Democrats didn't like it. It took us another year to pass it. Do you remember?
Well, actually, we were able to get through pretty. I mean, that session.
That was
2016.
Okay, because we were at the old building when we first.
Well, there was a couple of iterations of that failed in the past. And I came on board in 2014, and then there were some other counties who were engaged and involved. And of course, I had known Speaker Harwell since 1986, so there was some trust there, and I went to her and I said, here's some issues, because she had some issues about it, and so we made it only about Rutherford County and took out some of the other counties.
So we led on that issue.
By doing that, and there's my two greatest accomplishments that I take from my time here so far, and be hard to beat, is the creation of the Vote Center project, and then also testifying before the United States Senate. Right. Beyond that, everything else is good, but not a highlight. But the Vote Center is that it helps everybody. Yes. It doesn't matter if you're an R or a D or an independent. If you leave Murfreesboro to go to Nashville because you have to be at work at 7:30, you can stop in Smyrna Laverne if you live in the eastern part of the county and vote before 7 o'clock. There's not a wrong polling place. You show up at 6:30, 6:45, and you think, okay, well, the last time I voted, my assigned precinct was the Las Casas. Well, no, it's changed. It's actually Leanna. Well, you're not going to make that drive in 15 minutes or 10 minutes, so you can't vote. Now, under the Vote Center concept, every precinct, the votes are reported back to the precinct in which you reside, but your polling place where you cast that vote is open to everybody. The only thing we could do would be, maybe an American Idol style, go social media and everybody gets to vote 10 times, and then we'll stop it and they can vote another 10. I learned about American Idol voting this last couple of weeks, but anyway. But the way we do it, I mean, is the most simplest way to do it.
Well, my point about the 217,000 whatever
224
man, a numbers guy. That's still just over half of the entire population, so you're only engaging in about half of the population anyway, and then it's 11% of that engaged population,
right? And I heard y'all talking about that on the morning show, and I was yelling at the radio as I was driving
right
down
numbers, I'm sure
it was the fact. But you take that, yes, it is half. But now you got to realize, not everybody of the 400,000 people are 18 years of age. Okay. Not everybody's a U.S. citizen. Not everybody, they may have some history in their past that they've lost their rights to vote.
Well, that makes sense.
So by the time you cull that down, now it's not 200,000 people, but we're because I think we've got 55,000, 56,000 population that's in the schools. So you say, okay, let's just take that out because I think that's how many students. Then you throw in a few private schools that we've got. So if you look at it, we're probably, there's probably a good 20, 30,000 that are not registered. But also too, we use the number 217,224. That's registered. That's active and inactive voters.
Okay.
But now, if you look at active voters, people that we do not have inactive because we've gotten return mail from, they're likely not at the address, or the national change of address has said that they've moved to somewhere outside of the county or outside of the state. So we make those inactive until we get a written documentation, or if they don't vote within an 8-year cycle, then they are purged. So
that could be people who passed away too.
Those get deleted every month. We get a death notice every month. Okay. Every month of everybody who has become deceased that's on our voter rolls. So, or even if they are not on our voter rolls, we get that notification. But the thing is, though, is that the number of people that are active is right at 180,000. So when you say, that kind of skewers the percentage, but somebody could walk in and be inactive, and as long as they're still a resident here, they're activated and they can vote. So that's a little deceiving when you talk about the percentages, because there is that distinction.
Well, I'm glad to
house you're talking about.
I'm glad to know that you were yelling at your radio, so that's fine. But at least I don't know. I think even as elected officials, but just as a person who's engaged in the community, I don't know what it should be. The people that we voted for on May 5th are the people that are gonna directly affect us more than those that are in Washington.
Yes, amen.
And I get on my soapbox when I speak to the Rotary clubs, the Kiwanis clubs, and things of that nature, and I have to just tell myself, okay, I'm going to step back down. Because it is, because there's more direct impact. And, hey, the United States Senate is very important.
Sure.
The Supreme Court's important, the President's important, Congress is important, but the thing is, what impacts us daily, whether it be infrastructure, roads, schools, property taxes, whatever. We feel that impact every day.
And these are people that you would be able to talk to. I mean, the average person is not going to be able to go up to Donald Trump and say, hey, you know what, my property taxes are this and that. You know, but you can talk to your local county commissioner, you can talk to your local county mayor, state representative, and talk about things like that, like a traffic light, but they don't listen. I mean, I've tried to get a traffic light at Leanne and Thompson Lane.
I mean, I care about that. I've shared it with TDOT. It's not my district. We'll work on it, Brian. I promise you, we'll work on it. But hey, if folks folks do have a question, if they're in this district, they can call me 525-3198. I can get my assistant to mail you the map. If you end at
calling Alan if I have questions.
West of Baker Road and Independence Hill Road and south or east of Murfreesboro Road, you're in the new congressional district.
And it's on our website at ruco.vote. There's a public, it says public notice, and it shows the link you can click on.
And you'll post it, won't you?
And it shows. And
it's been posted since you gerrymandered. I mean, I'm sorry, since it was passed.
So it's there for, if anybody has questions. Now the deadline to qualify is tomorrow at noon, and there is no withdrawal deadline. So if you submit a petition, there's no, you know what, I've got buyer's remorse here, I want to 3 days or a week, which is a standard. You're on the ballot, no matter what.
To win?
Wide margins.
Okay.
See, there you go.
When everybody asked me, I said, "Who are you for?" I said, "I'm for wide margins."
Exactly. No close, no late nights either.
Exactly.
Every now and then you'll get a Freudian slip from someone when you do that.
Not me.
How was it about an hour and a half by the time you got everything tallied on election night?
Right at an hour and 41 minutes.
Okay, so I mean, can't ask for better.
My intern was helping y'all.
Yeah,
Tiffany Parker. Shout out Tiffany Parker. She just graduated. She had a baby while she was going to school. She almost died. But anyway, shout out to Tiffany. Tiffany, she's a sweetheart, and she's working with y'all.
But our presidential year, and that's one great thing about the vote centers, and that's what I love about early voting, is that by election night in November of 2024, presidential, at 8:31. Everybody was in, everybody was reported, and we knew what the unofficial results were at that point in time. Now, tonight, we will actually meet and certify the numbers for the May election. And, of course, everything's unofficial until it's actually certified. But yeah, so it's always good to know, an hour and a half, 2 hours in, we're done. We're not counting ballots and at 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. Alan's got to have his sleep.
And we're not staring at hanging chads or dimples or any of that stuff like we had to go through. So, well, guys, we're way over. I appreciate you both.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Rutherford County Administrator of Elections Alan Farley and State Representative Mike Sparks on the show today.
Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home has served Murfreesboro families with compassion and care since 1880.